Hello, people. Turn the radio off so I don't get accused of a copyright claim. Anyway, here's Popola, the first little fishing community south of Rosarito, just south of Rosarito. See, Ensenada's still 69 kilometers away, but that's where we used to go when I was first coming to Mexico to check out the fishing, but it's from the beach, okay? It's not a little bay or nothing. It's kind of a little protected beach, and the pangas can launch off the beach to go fishing, but sometimes they take pretty wild rides through the waves to get out of there. So in the first couple of years we were in Mexico, we used to go down there almost every weekend. See, the ocean's right there, okay, on the other side of these condos. Sometimes these pangas are taken off there with illegal immigrants headed for San Diego, Southern California coast, and a few of them have flipped over and the people have drowned lately. It's been making national news. Not advisable, people. Okay, do it right. My little woman, I'm helping her with her papers, and we're doing it right. It's taken 12 years to get all the paperwork in order to where she can even apply. So just do it right, and then you don't have to look over your shoulder all the time. Look, it's low tide. Down there is a good place to gather chorros at low tide. The mussels that grow on the rocks down there. Mussels and sea urchins and little octopi. You know, that's what the hunters and gatherers used to do back in the days, thousands of years ago. They could survive along this California coast here, this Mexican Baja California coast, just on mussels and sea life at low tide. You gather it. At high tide, you gotta fish. There's Big Jesus here south of Rosarito. Jesus Cristo. Gracias Dios. Thank God for everything. All right. Here's a famous surfing spot, K38, kilometer 38 south of the border. Okay. It's actually pretty famous. K38 surfing. See? A few surfers out there today. Okay, right here on the edge of the Los Rocas condos. The other day, a month or so ago, I guess an American died. They say he might have been thrown off the third floor balcony from here, or else he was drunk and fell off. It's still kind of a controversy. Over here is a top secret medical clinic. It's almost like a little prison on the ocean. People, from what I've heard, Sanofi, people send their old loved ones over there to die. There's only one way you're leaving that place, and that's in a box or a little jar. Anyway, I love the strip of beaches from Rosarito to Ensenada, where all my favorite restaurants used to be, with a good restaurant with a view of the ocean. That's all you can ask for, folks. To me, it beats any five-star restaurant in New York. So, and the fresh lobster and langosta and camarones, shrimp, seafood in general, you can't beat it. World famous. Yes, sir, folks, this is my home stomping ground now for the last 10, 12, 15 years. It's been Tijuana to Ensenada. Okay? And Ensenada was my bug out place of choice, 100 miles south of the border, south of San Diego. And I felt it would be safe enough in a major catastrophic event that happened in Southern California. San Diego. But my friends in Ensenada, my retired American buddies, are saying, nowadays it's not far enough away. 100 miles is not far enough away from a major catastrophic event. And you know what I'm talking about, folks. But I'm just planning for anything less than all-out nuclear. What I'm planning for is just any big event that causes people to panic. Southern California is a fish trap. There's very few places to get out of there in an emergency, and there's a lot of people competing for. It would go pretty fast. The food on the shelves, the water, the fresh water, the energy, the gas. Okay, folks, hopefully none of that will ever come to pass. But just look at the Rodney King riots, how fast things can change. Okay, here we are in world famous lobster country. All right, Puerto Nuevo. A lot of tourists here today. Look, all the parking lots are full. Very good local lobster. All right. I guess for the taste, you want young juveniles lobster, not the big old ones, crusty, tough meat. You want the young ones. And that's what they have here, but it's pretty expensive. Like $25 a plate for a couple of lobster and extras. So I'm not a tourist anymore, folks. I used to try stuff like that. I've even taken my son and his wife over there. But not anymore, folks. I'm a local after 12 years. And now she has her Mexican papers. Her son is full-blooded Mexican with his papers now. And I am the stepfather of a 100% Mexican citizen. So that gives me rights. I have rights in Mexico, a right to make a living. I'm not a tourist anymore that they can suck the blood out of me. Okay? Look at all these new houses going in. You can buy lots up there before the houses come in. $700 a month payments on a lot. The only thing I don't trust is the Mexican legal system. I've heard too many bad things about people that have bought property, houses, and whatnot, and there's no guarantees. There's no court system that you can trust to have your deed guaranteed. All right, you have to pay. From what I understand, you got to pay another company who sort of guarantees that will be your property, your family's property, in 100 years from now. And from what I understand, you can't trust anything. You can't trust these companies. You can't trust the developers. You can't trust the deeds, the in-between people. All right? I wouldn't do it, folks. I'm just happy with cheap rent and live for today and save your money. There's the dunes south of Rosarito. That's really fun. Dune buggies and off-road bikes and ATVs. And it's not real big though. It's not a real big area. It's 10 acres or so, right next to the water. It's beautiful, but it's a tourist trap. Look at this valley over here. Look at how green it is now after the recent rains we've had. Everything is really green. The flowers are in bloom. The daisies, the yellow flowers are like, what do they call those flowers that they say they make mustard out of? That mustard flower or something? One thing I'm curious about is the bee industry. The bee industry should be just booming over here, but I've never seen any beehives. I've never seen any beehives over here. So that's something that is worth looking into if you're into that sort of thing. to me, where you have a lot of flowers and open areas, perfect for bees, beekeeping. Brand new condos, selling all the time. You know, folks, this is like, to me, this is like the United States, Southern California in the 60s, when it's an opportunity to be had. Look at this place with the barbed wire around it. It's like a little camp. It's a juvenile camp. From what I understand, rich people can send their kids over there, and they're guaranteed to hold the kids for you and put them through like a boot camp. Not very legal, but they do it here in Mexico. See, here's what we call the Splash, because it's a really, really, really nice restaurant right on the cliffs, where of course the waves splash up. On a big day, they'll splash up and hit the windows of the restaurant. That's why it's called the Splash. Great food, great views, and I used to love it, but it's all for tourists. All for tourists. This is just my advice, my thoughts, folks, after 15 years of actually living here in Baja California and 12 years of being married over here, full-time resident. I very seldom go up to San Diego anymore. All right? I'm not pretending to be a tour guide. I just know from experience what works and what doesn't work for somebody who's living over here. And I gotta admit, as an ex-law enforcement, I've never had anything which I consider dangerous. You know, nothing out of the ordinary for any area. You know, I'd rather live here than in Chicago or someplace like that, I'll tell you that. Okay? I've never been hit up by any robbers, any gangs. Of course, the police, like if you're drinking and driving or something and you get stopped by the police, you know, yeah, they're going to say, you want to go to jail or you want to just pay us? And usually $20 or so satisfies them. Don't let them take like $200, okay? I know from experience, just hold out and just say you're not afraid to go to jail. Let's go talk to the judge. They'll take you directly to a judge, and then you guys with the judge will work out a payment. You know, it's if you think you can settle it on the street for $20 or $40, do it. But if it's going to go up to $100, you might as well just go see the judge, because that's what the judge is going to charge, and it's not going to be so corrupt. From what I've seen, you know. All right, folks. Beautiful views along the ocean here. The cliffs heading down to La Misión, south of Rosarito, halfway between Rosarito and Ensenada. I'm telling you, folks, you can't go wrong if you want a good vacation with good food, good views, surfing, kayaking, fishing, all that. Such green valleys right now after the rains, and the flowers look just beautiful. Just beautiful. And I don't know where the bees are. I got a feeling everything is pretty regulated in Mexico. You know, even the bee industry. There's a way, there's somebody controlling it. So that's why you don't see too much of it. Everything is very tight-fisted and tight-lipped down here when it comes to anything to make money. Really, it's very, very difficult for poor people to make money. This is their land. This is the Mexicans' land, the indigenous Indians. This is their land, but they are some of the poorest people on the face of the earth, you know, having to sit on the side of the road and beg for money. And it's their land, and it's rich with resources. But gas and oil is Mexico's biggest resource. It's the biggest industry that pays all the big bucks. And of course, that's very controlled by the government. The government gets their cut first, then everybody else. So over here is La Fonda, right by La Mission. La Fonda, great restaurants and bars right here. It's like 20 miles south of Rosarito. See? Poco Cielo, Little Heaven. La Fonda, the original Fonda. Dimitri's. Very, very good food. Very nice, relaxed atmosphere, and margaritas and whatnot. There's the Devil's Mansion. Pretty famous spot. A guy built a house with a lot of devils worshiping type stuff. Demonio. All right. Look at how green this valley is right here. I don't know why they don't have herds of goats and maybe cows all over. You know, it doesn't stay green very long. You know, it's an arid country, so the green valleys don't last that long. But why not have goats and cows grazing while it's green? Okay, now over here is La Mission. La Mission, I think there is a mission over here, of course. That's why it's called La Mission Beach, Playa de Mission. The beaches of the mission. The Jesuit missions that the Catholic Church sent over to convert all the Indians to Catholicism and stuff. And Catholicism to this day is the biggest religion in Mexico. Look at this though. Beach worshiping is what it looks like to me. There's the horses to rent, the little cabanas for rent, all the tourism stuff. The food is tropical. There's no organized restaurants over here, no electricity, just little stands, little family-owned stands. All right. It's overcast today, but everything looks pretty darn good. Some people rock climbing down the face of that cliff. All right. It's my favorite place, people. Rosarito and south. But now, as I've told you, I'm exploring new territory. After 15 years of being in North Baja, I'm going to head down to southern Baja, but not Baja South. Okay? Baja California is a north and a south, and Ojos Negros down there, Guerrero Negro is the halfway spot between northern Baja and southern Baja. And that's a dividing. That's a whole other state, southern Baja. And they have military checkpoints going between the two. So you got to have everything correct on your vehicles, your passports. Everything is subject to inspection at that point. So I'm a North Baja guy. Okay, there's a big distinction. And southern Baja is far and few between pueblos, because once you get south of Ensenada, it starts getting pretty desolate, with like 20 miles in between the little pueblos, and the pueblos don't have banks or anything. You're lucky to have somebody take your credit card. So I think I found the perfect bug out spot for me, though, is San Quintin. You know, the little village. It's actually San Quintin Valley with several pueblos in that area. So you'll see later, I'm going to be looking at each pueblo, but San Quintin and Vicente Guerrero seems to be the spot for me, where you can go fishing and you can get fresh fruits and vegetables. Okay, folks, I used to have a boat right here in Puerto Salinas, okay? But guess what? All the boats got landlocked when the channel silted over. Look, the channel is totally sanded over, the sandbar. I heard that they designed the entrance to the harbor wrong, and that it just silts over all the time, and you got to constantly keep dredging it out. And poor boats got landlocked in there. The only way out is to hire a crane and truck them out of there. So that was another rip-off here. And I took my mother over there like 5 years ago, and it was beautiful, and it had a future. But now the future's gone. It's all dried up. Look at that. Motorcycle is the way to travel, folks, down here. Even little kids get rides on motorcycles. Motorcycles are the way to go in these countries. Central America and Mexico, South America. Motorcycles are the way to go. I used to ride and be able to cross the border really fast on a motorcycle, because you could go between the lanes and go right up to the front of the line to cross the border, saving yourself 2-3 hours sometimes. So if I was a healthy young man again and needed to go to San Diego to work like I used to, I would definitely have a motorcycle. Okay, folks, from here to Ensenada, it goes into the hills, the foothills. The coast is still right there, but the scenic route is pretty much over for now. It's just green hills and mountains until we get to Ensenada, and then the vineyards, the grape vineyards, the wine country. So we'll use 2 hands to get through this windy mountain area going into Ensenada. It's very beautiful, though. If I have a chance, I'll show you what it looks like from the views over here.